Hi friends, welcome to new video. In a wide-ranging interview with CNN's Aaron Burnett on Friday, Dasha Navalnaya, the daughter of jailed Russian dissident Alexei Navalny, urged Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the war in Ukraine and release her father and political prisoners in the country. What is the demand? We will not stop fighting until these two goals are achieved, Navalnaya said. His father Navalny, an outspoken critic of the Kremlin and its war in Ukraine, is currently in a maximum security prison east of Moscow after a Russian court convicted him of mass fraud last year. After serving 9 years of imprisonment, he was poisoned with the nerve agent Novichok in 2020, an attack many Western officials and Navalny himself openly blamed on the Kremlin. Russia has denied involvement. After several months in Germany recovering from the poisoning, Navalny returned to Moscow, where he was promptly arrested for violating the terms of his probation from a 2014 embezzlement case he pleaded guilty to. Said that it was politically motivated. He was initially sentenced to 2.5 years, and then later to 9 years on separate charges of stealing from his anti-corruption foundation. My name is Matthew and you are watching 72 Info TV, so before we discuss this news, please subscribe to our channel for more informative videos. Navalny, who has previously run for political office in Russia, has long been a thorn in the side of the Kremlin. Dasha said that the main goal of her father's work and the Anti-Corruption Foundation is for Russia to become a free state, with open elections, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and the opportunity for that. To be part of a normal Western democratic community. He recounted his experience growing up in a family closely watched by the government, telling Burnett that he and his brother made a game of trying to avoid spies on public transport in Russia. We'd look around the train and then strike up a conversation with the guy who had the worst camouflage and a black hat and a weird bag, and we'd jump off, not the train, but everyone. Out of the way. The car, he said. But Navalny has now expressed growing concern about her father's prison conditions, saying her family has limited access to Navalny and his lawyers can only see him through a protective mask. So we can't really know for sure about his health, and he hasn't seen his family in over half a year, he said. I haven't seen him in person in over a year, and that's quite concerning considering his health continues to deteriorate. Concerns about Navalny's health have persisted for months. Footage from last year's sentencing showed Navalny as a defiant figure standing alongside his lawyers in a room full of security personnel. Navalny himself has tweeted about difficult conditions in prison, saying in November that he was isolated from other prisoners in what he described as a move to lock me up. According to a report by the Center for Eastern Studies, OSW, a Poland-based think tank, prisoners in Russian penal colonies are usually housed in barracks rather than cells. He said at the time that the truly unspeakable brutality of his imprisonment, however, was restrictions on visits with family. The poisoning of Navalny and the legal problems that followed generated intense interest from the Russian public and abroad. Russia saw massive anti-government protests in towns and cities across the country following his arrest, with authorities detaining nearly 11,000 protesters within weeks. In June last year, Navalny was transferred from a penal colony in Pokrov to a maximum security prison in Melikov, Russia's Vladimir region. Throughout his imprisonment, Navalny has nevertheless strongly condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine via social media, and has called anti-war protests across the country the backbone of the movement against war and death. But called. In a tweet thread about his prison conditions last year, he vowed to keep speaking out. So what is my first duty? That's right, don't be afraid and don't be silent, he wrote, urging others to do the same. At every opportunity, campaign against war, Putin, and united Russia. Hugs to you all. Thanks for watching our videos.